Also, a disclaimer, no copyright infringement is intended. Pictures belong to the rightful owners. The presenter does not own or claim the rights of any of the pictures shared in this presentation, and this presentation is for educational purposes only, no? So, this is a news article, no? 2023 to 2024 El Nino is among the 5 strongest on record and will continue fueling heat in 2024. No, actually, we already reached the 1.5 degrees Celsius threshold as agreed on the Paris Accord. No, this is about the total temperature that is targeted for the entire Earth, the total temperature increase. No, so we already reached it. So that's the purpose. That's the reason I decided to initiate this talk. No, so what is passive design? No, passive design refers to design strategies integrated into the building to achieve the natural cooling, ventilation, energy, and resource conservation without the need for further actions by the users in general. So walang gagawin, nangyayari na. So at least for this purpose, no, passive cooling will be defined by cooling achieved without electricity, and active cooling is cooling techniques powered by electricity, no? So, what's the first principle in passive design, no? The first principle is site analysis. So, before anything else, you need to know your orientation, no? Where are your windows facing? Where are your walls facing? Which is the hottest side of the house? Which is the coldest side of the house? So this is done by the architects, no? Or your designers of your house, no? So we analyze this, where the wind comes from, where the sun path is. It's normally from east, then tilts towards the south, and then goes towards the west, no? So it's south. So the south side of any site is actually the hottest side of the building because it absorbs the sun the entire day, whereas the western side is hottest in the afternoon, and eastern side is normally hot only in the morning, no? So also we include in our analysis if you have the landscape that you have around you. So if you have grasslands, mountains, so that's a source of cold air, cool air, no? If you have waterfalls, of course, and waterscapes, no, that's also a source of cool temperatures. But if you're surrounded by buildings, no, the buildings actually they move the winds, no? So meron tayong traditional trade winds that comes from amihan and habagat. Pero kung meron kang buildings beside you, no, it moves the wind to different directions. Also, it is also another source of heat. So the buildings that surrounds your house, no. So this is the normal trade winds, no, amihan from the northeast and habagat from the southwest, no. And this is the direction of the sun from east tilting towards the south and going to the west, no. This is what we use to analyze the site, no. Also, there's also the easterlies or the trade wind. So basically, there's northeast and there's southeast winds, no. So basically, if you have windows on the east, there are wind sources there all throughout the year. Before we can understand how we can protect our building, we have to understand, no, how we design our buildings. We have to understand the building envelope, no. The building envelope is the physical separator between the conditioned and unconditioned environment of the building, including the resistance to air, water, heat, light, and noise transfer. No, so basically, it's the enclosed portion of the house that we want to control the humidity as well as the temperature, no. So this is the envelope, no. So yung attic normally, yung above the ceiling is excluded sa building envelope. If you can see the yellow-green line, no. The basement is also part of the building envelope, no. So after learning about the building envelope, what do we need to learn is the thermal mass. The thermal mass is the ability of a material to absorb, store, and release heat. Thermal lag is the rate at which the materials releases stored heat, no. So ibig sabihin, the more mass you have, the more heat that you will be able to absorb. That, like I said, no, buildings, like thermal mass of the neighborhood should also be considered because your buildings beside you, the roads beside you, if you're beside a highway, that absorbs heat and it releases heat to you also in due time, no. So this is the heat when the sun heats when the sun enters your house and heats the floor, your entire floor absorbs the heat. And heat is released throughout the day. So umaga pa lang, so early in the morning, if you have wide windows and the windows hit the floor, your entire floor absorbs the heat, no? And then this heat is released upon hitting the floor, nagre-release na yung heat, and all throughout the day, it releases the heat. So this actually, the thermal mass of the building also increases the temperature in your house. Baka hindi nyo napapansin yun, no? So if you can see here at the right, the left image, no, the highway and a barren desert will increase the thermal mass of an environment, no, because the entire thing absorbs heat, no. If you can see also, the next image is the entire city. If it's a concrete city, whether it's made of glass, concrete, or steel, it absorbs all the heat from the sun. So they all absorb the heat. Entire buildings absorb the heat, no, even the roads, no. So those are the sources of heat in an urban environment. On the right, on the left naman, there's the sources of heat in the rural environment, no. Pag walang mga tanim, panay bato, lupa at konkreto lang. So next, what we want to learn is what is thermal insulation. It's a material that resists or block the flow of heat energy. Insulation is used to stop heat outside the home from entering in summer, no? So that's what we put outside the wall to prevent heat from entering, no? And that's what we also put in our roofs, no? To prevent heat from entering the roofing sheets, no? If you can see on the right bottom side, there are different types of thermal insulation materials. No, what are thermal insulation materials? No, one is the bubble foil insulation. This is installed below roof, above ceiling, and around ducting, no? If you're familiar, this is like the bubble wrap, no? Pero may aluminum foil na nakadikit sa bubble wrap, no? Yan. And the next image is a polyethylene insulation. So it's basically parang styrofoam with aluminized, or usually ito is aluminized foil, no? Hindi siya actually aluminum foil. So parang plastic siya na may aluminum coating. So it actually degrades in time, no? That's a PE foam insulation. And then there's a third, that's aluminum foil membrane. So the third one is merely aluminum foil lang yan with wires, no? So actually ito yung pinakamatibay. But and then this is the fourth, no? Is rock wool and glass fiber. The reason I prefer the first one, no? The bubble or airspace actually increases the insulating power of any material, no? So even if the aluminum foil membrane will insulate you, adding an airspace similar to the bubble foil insulation will double the insulating capacity of this material, no? Rock wool and glass fiber naman, no? Aside from insulating heat, it also insulates from noise, no? So kung maingay like if you live nearby an airport or yung highway, no? Ideally, you use a rock wool or glass fiber insulation over your roof or over between your walls, no? Oh, see, like the air gap between the insulation material and surface creates an additional layer of insulation by trapping the air in that space, acting as a buffer between the inside and outside temperatures, no? So kaya itong PE foam insulation also has bubble, parang yung styrofoam na may bubbles, di ba? Although the problem with this PE foam insulation is it degrades in time, no? So after 10 years, medyo lalambot na siya, maging marupok, no? Ang advantage ng bubble foil, if you're using actual foil, is hindi siya magde-degrade because you're using aluminum. At the same with the aluminum foil membrane, no? Because the downside naman ng aluminum foil, matibay nga siya, but it's less than its insulating properties is less than that with the air space in between, no? What are other insulating materials? These are samples, no, that you can use. These are insulating paints, no? So like the leftmost side is Flex Seal ceramic coat, no? And then in the middle is ceramic coat is from Flex Seal, from Cambridge Paints, no? The middle is the Loctite RRC is from sino to? Build Right. No, dating Sinclair paints now is called Build Right. And on the leftmost side is Boysen using cool shades. No, each of these paints have their different characteristics. No, I personally, I was able to use ceramic coat before. No, pag pinaint mo yung roof mo with the ceramic coat, no, actually kahit tanghaling tapat, hawakan mo yung yero, it's cold. No, kahit tanghaling tapat. So this is very effective. No, the downside here is if you don't install it properly, uh nawawash out siya. No, the same is true with the other paints. No, now I'm using Boys and Cool shades. No, pag hinawakan mo, the temperature is not as cold as ceramic coat, but it lasts longer. No, yung paint niya. Okay. So another insulating materials is reflective materials, no? So that's why ideal also is you use reflective light colors to reflect the heat and the light of the sun. Note here is do not paint the roof sheets during extremely hot weather or during the rainy season. Bakit? Kasi pag hot weather, when you paint any surface, no, you have to give time for it to dry up and cling to the surface. Pag uminit siya, like if you paint it early morning, tas tanghaling tapat na init, mabilis siyang matuyo. So it did not reach the enough time for it to adhere into the metal roof. Ang mangyayari tendency is it will peel off, no? Pag rainy season naman, if it's humid, if the temperature is humid, you normally don't paint when the temperature is humid because the paint will contract pagka nawala yung humidity, or it will expand when there's humidity, so it will not cling. At the same time, if it rains within how many hours after painting, it will just wash off your insulating paint. No, it's a waste. No, follow instructions from the painting company. So ideally, when you contact your painting company, you ask for referral for their accredited painters. No. What are construction strategies that can reduce heat, no? One, you use clay tiles or clay bricks, no? Why? Kasi clay, if pag hindi siya naarawan, malamig siya to the touch, no? So that's why if you use clay tiles, you have to cover it also from one side. Either the one facing the sun or the one facing the interior should be covered. So clay tiles over the roof also offers insulation to your roof. No? Also, another technique is double walling with air gap. No, like I said earlier, no, an air gap will increase the insulating capacity of the wall. So, if you have space, pag meron kang wall that's again, no, the orientation is important. No, the site analysis. If your wall is facing a hot side, then it's reasonable for you to do a double wall on that side. No, so hindi on all sides of the wall. Like if your wall is facing the north, there's no point putting a double wall kasi yung north mo is the coldest side. No? If it's facing the south or facing the west, then it makes sense to put a double wall. No? A second wall can also be gypsum or hard flex. So hindi kailangan nasa labas. No? If your wall there is hot already, it's already installed, no? You can install a second wall inside your house. No? Kahit manipis lang yun, it will help. No? So like this, may bagong uso ngayon. This is a concrete panel na prefabricated. If you see the image, no, it's two concrete walls na thin, and there's an airspace in between. This is a very good insulating material. So and the second image, you see two brick walls that's also separated by the air gap. No, so this is very good also in insulating for heat. No. Another important aspect, no, in insulating your building is sealing air leaks, no? What are air leaks? Kasi yung bahay naman natin is maraming tumatagos-tagos diyan na air. Ibig sabihin, pag sinara mo yung lahat ng windows mo and doors mo, air will still come in and go out, no? What does that mean? So it means even if you have insulation over your ceiling, even if you have double wall, even if you're insulated your ceiling and double mo pa insulation sa roof mo, no, nag-double ka pa. And then there are leaks, kahit dito lang sa pinakadulo mo may isang part na may butas, no. The insulation actually already fails kasi imagine the entire parang baliktad na bangka yan eh. Pag ang bangka mo may butas, no, tapos pupunta ka sa laot, no. konti-konting papasok yung tubig, hindi mo maramdaman, pero eventually, lulubog din yung bangka. No? Ito, ang heat mo is all around. No? If you notice the lower right image, no, the heat comes from all around. So if there's one source in one location that is releasing heat the entire day, kahit ma-insulate mo pa yung all 90% of your house, pero yung 10% mo pinapasukan ng heat, no? Parang walang kwenta yung insulation mo. So this is very important. You seal the air leaks, no? Another important aspect is you reduce the heat gain through windows, no? Like I said a while ago, no? Yung window mo, pag may sunlight pumapasok papunta sa sahig mo, that's already your house is already absorbing heat. So if you reduce the heat that comes in through your windows, that's already problem half solved, no? So how do heat come in through the windows, no? One is through radiation, through the glazing, no? Radiation is from the rays of the sun, no? Another is through conduction. So yung init ng araw nararamdaman ng glass, and the glass pass it on to the windowsill, and the windowsill passes it on to the concrete wall, no? Air leakage around the opening, ano naman yan? That's convection naman, air leakage. When wind goes in, the wind gets heated, no? And the convected heat, the hot air that received the heat through convection will enter into the house, pumasok na rin through the windows, no? So as mentioned earlier, no, heat transfer mechanisms are 1 from conduction, 2 from convection, and 3 from radiation, no? Para lang you understand how heat is being transmitted into the house, no? How do you reduce heat gain through windows? Of course, you use reflective tints, no? There are tints that are reflective that minsan nakala mo one-way tint, pero it does not reflect the UV rays, or it does not reflect the heat, no? So it doesn't mean na mukhang one way, it already reflects. So you have to refer to your supplier, no? If it does reflect UV rays, and if it does reflects the heat from the sun, no? Normally ang sacrifice mo dyan, if you reflect majority of the heat, usually didilim, pati yung liwanag is mababawasan. So you have to adjust your requirement for light, and at the same time your requirement to reflect the heat, no? Another technique to reduce heat gain through windows is using exterior shading, no? Shading devices. Ito yung mga uso sa architecture. Ito ang ginagamit namin, louvers, no? Bamboo slats and curtains. Of course, the downside nung using bamboo slats, no, although it's cheap, no, it's a fire hazard. So especially during the hot summer days when it's super dry, no, and no humidity, no, may tendency these things will catch fire, especially if it's unattended, no. Curtains or blinds, solar screens can also reduce the heat gain through windows. Although the downside with the curtains, no, is by the time it hits the curtain and the curtain reflects some of the light and the heat, no, nakapasok na yung heat sa bahay mo. So some of that heat that entered into your window and entered into your curtain, when the curtain reflects back the heat or the light, the same reflection happens against the interior side of the glass. So parang may babounce off uli mo from the glass before hindi lahat ng mare-reflect na curtain is lalabas. So meron pa rin na papasok na heat. So ang pinaka-effective way talaga is using exterior shading first, and then ideally pag hindi mo kaya mag-exterior shading, no, like if you're in a building without that you cannot put shadings outside, no, you tint your windows. And then afterwards, the last resort would be the curtains, no? The fourth one is using low E glass, no? Low E is low emission glass, no? Ibig sabihin, it reflects the infrared and the UV lights but lets the visible light in. Ang problema nito, it's very expensive, no? Low E emission glass, type of glazing, is transparent with microscopic coating that improves thermal efficiency of your buildings, no? Ang problem lang talaga, like, it's very expensive. So ideally, this is only used normally sa office buildings na mataas yung budget, no? Another option for you is to use double pane glass, no? Double pane glass works by trapping air in the layer of air or gas, no? So again, no, like parang may air gap ka na naman between the two glasses, no? So ideally, ang pinakamagandang double pane glass is the one that is with vacuum in the middle para the heat or sound, parang mga soundproof windows are normally using vacuum dun sa in between the airspace, no? Between the space between the two panels, no? But if we don't have a vacuum the double pane window, then a double pane window with just air will also be effective. Another aspect, before after you reject the heat from the exterior, siyempre, another way to cool your home is cross ventilation, no? What's important sa cross ventilation, if you see, kaya tinatawag na cross, kailangan may dadaanan siya from one side of the room to the other side of the room, no? Or from the bottom of the room to the ceiling, or like if you see dito sa stock ventilation on the third image, no? Pataas, no? The image you see in the single-sided ventilation, actually, this rarely happens na papasok yung hangin and then lalabas. Ano yan? May remote control. Hindi nangyayari yan, no? Nangyayari lang yan pag may bagyo, no? So ideally, if you have a single-sided ventilation, no, may papasok na hangin, pero hindi yan lalampas sa kalahati ng bahay mo. So what do we normally suggest is maglagay kayo ng exhaust fan dito sa corner ng room na walang window, no? If walang exhaust fan, normally we find a way to pipe out another outlet to another side of the room, no? That's how we use para passive cooling talaga. We don't need electricity, no? But worst case scenario, no, if you need this entire room cool, no, with minimal effort, no, you put an exhaust fan on the other side of the room. Also incorporate operable windows and vents, no? Operable, ibig sabihin nabubuksan. If you see this image, no, on the center, mukha siya maganda, no, mukhang modern. But if you notice, no, the glass is fixed and mukha lang siya maganda from outside. But when you're inside the room, when you're inside the space, parang oven yan pag pinasukan ng araw, no? So I've encountered actually a client before trying to sell their house in a village in Makati. From the outside, ang ganda. Ang tawag nga namin, glass house, no? Pagpasok namin, alam na namin bakit binibenta because it's like an oven inside, no? So, operable windows means the wind will circulate around the house, no? If you notice on the left side, no, wind will circulate, no? Kasi even if you have windows, if you don't open it, no, if you leave the house the entire day and then you close all the windows, what do you think will happen, no? When you come back home, no? Luto yan, oven pa rin yan. Kahit if you have windows all around your house, if you close it the entire day, tapos it's being nakalubog siya under the sun the entire day, iinit at iinit yan. And like I said earlier, no, there's a building mass. Your entire building, kunyari 4 floors yan, your entire 4 floors is absorbing all the heat. And until you open your windows, that's the only time they're gonna release the heat, no, from the inside, no. Stack effect on chimneys, light wells, or staircases, no. Stack effect ibig sabihin because hot air rises, di ba? So if there's a staircase, no, normally that's an opening from the ground floor up to the top floor, not dire-diretso. So that means hot air from the ground floor will go to the second floor, hot air from the second floor will go to the third floor and up and so on. And that encourages the air to move from bottom to top. So dun pa lang sa pag-move ng air pataas, there will already be wind movement, no? If you notice sa bahay na bato, no? Sa bahay na bato, there's ventanilla, no? Di ba? If you notice sa baba madilim pero malamig, no? Pero dahil kulang sa liwanag, normally the second floor is used as the living room, no? Aside from that, no, second floor na yung living room, pero meron pang ventanilla, no? Bakit? Because even dito sa second floor, may init. So you want cold air from the bottom rising up to the second floor, to the upper upper part of your room, no, para lumamig, no. So like if you have a 4-story structure or 3-story structure, no, your ground floor actually serves as your silong, no, like the bahay na bato. Ano ba ang silong, di ba? It's the lowest portion of the bahay na bato or the bahay kubo. And normally it's cold downstairs, no. So you want that cold air to go up, no. So because that's part of how you circulate cold air around the house. No? The relatively cool air will be pushed up because the hot air nga goes up, no? So parang may positive pressure, may negative pressure. So habang hot air goes up, it pulls up the cold air from below. No? That's what also happens sa mga bahay na bato. Di ba? Bahay na bato, may staircase na malalaki. So pag mainit yung second floor mo, the wind comes up from the large staircase. No? Another principle in shading is using external shading devices. No, we have awnings. No, we have louvers, vertical, horizontal louvers. No, and trellises. No, ito yung nauso. Ito 1960s pa lang nauso na. It's called brise soleil. No, this covers your windows, but at the same time it provides architectural design to your structures. No, another effective way is to add awnings. No, awnings is you can just add it anytime, no? Merong freestanding awning, may awning na nakakabit sa building, no? And there's also, kung gusto mo ng design, merong parang tent-like structures, no? Na awning, no? If you don't like awning, if you have a large garden, then you can use shade nets, no? Shade nets for garden can also provide you shade, but at the same time does not restrict your plants from the sunlight, no? Add also shade to your concrete pavements. Bakit? Like I said no earlier, your concrete pavements absorb the heat. It absorbs the heat from the entire day sun. So if you can shade your pavements, no, yung i-release niya na heat will be lessened. Another more important strategy for shading is using vegetation, no? Trees for shading, no? Yan. Kita nyo yung mga trees. Grass provides evaporative cooling, no? Yung binibili natin na evaporative evaporative cooling na electric fan is actually being done by the grass. If you have a large lawn with green grasses, it provides evaporative cooling. The same is true with the trees, no? Provides evaporative cooling. That's why I also encourage plants from indoors, no? Because it also, aside from providing shade, no, and providing a relaxing environment, no, it provides evaporative cooling. If you see in this image, no, with the glass wall, no, that's an indoor garden. Pero the downside kasi with an indoor garden is it turns the indoor space humid. Kasi nga, the plants need humidity to survive, no. So if you want the coolness of the interior plantscaping, but without the humidity, like if you have paintings in your living room, or you always air condition your living room, no, but you want it less hot, no, so that your air conditioning will be less, it will have less electrical consumption, no? You enclose your indoor garden with a glass, no? So this garden provides coolness, but it does not let humidity go inside your living space, no? Sa outdoor plants, no, ito, how do plants provide cooling, no, from evaporative cooling, di ba? This was taught to us in our elementary days, di ba? Yung transpiration. Transpiration is the process of water movement through a plant, and its evaporation from aerial parts such as leaves, stems, and flowers. It's a passive process that requires no energy expended by the plant. Transpiration also cools the plants, no? That's why it's called evaporative cooling also by the plants, no? If you don't have space naman from your houses, you can use potted plants, no? It's the same process, no? The trees will also the small trees will still provide you with evaporative cooling, no? Ito yung transpiration, no? So there's the soil will provide evaporation. So the soil will also be cooled by evaporative cooling. And the plants will have transpiration. So the plant leaves will provide you with evaporative cooling. Evaporative cooling is the most commonly used method. The most commonly used methods are water bodies and water sprays. Pools, ponds, water features immediately outside the windows or courtyards can be pre-cooled to cool the space, no? This is a style, no? If you have a pool, whether it's a pond, a swimming pool, or whatever, no? If you let air pass through there before it goes into your living space and out again, no, it has to go out somewhere for you to be able to direct the wind into a space, no? That's how you control the wind. Dapat may lalabasan siya bago siya papasok, no? Pag wala siyang lalabasan, hindi siya papasok, no? This is a technique, no? You can put water fountains around your house, no? Because if water hits when you turn it on, no, then it will increase evaporative cooling process from the walls of your fountain, from the surrounding of your fountain. Magsa-splash yan eh. Diba? So the fountains also provide evaporative cooling, no? But of course, fountains, you need a pump, no? You need electricity to run the fountain, no? Another technique here is earthen pot cooling, no? Earthen pot cooling, no? Ibig sabihin, earthen pots are clay pots, no? Clay pots actually provide cooling effect, no? From the cooling effect to your immediate surrounding, no? If you see the lower right portion, this is called a Zier pot, no? It's a natural air conditioning, a natural refrigerator for small items, no? So inside the glass cover there, the temperature there is colder than the outside. So if you put there drinks, fruits, no, it will help preserve the fruits because it's parang mini ref na siya, no, na walang kuryente. So how does evaporative cooling from pots work, no? From passive cooling, you fill the jar with water, and if you notice, the jar will be, hindi ito yung porcelain jar, this is the terracotta jars, no? So a porcelain jars normally is waterproof, but you use terracotta jars, no? The outside of the jar will become moist, no? And if you hold the jar after a while, it will be very cold, no? What you can do is you can put those jars or these devices near your windows, no, and it will cool your room, no. If you see here, no, on the lower right portion of the image, no, they placed it on the balcony, and then there's a ventanilla below the balcony. That's where the jars are, and then cold air will come in. And of course, this will only be effective if you have window shades around or shades covering the window, and if the jars are not being hit by the sun. So importante rin that the jars are shaded. No? So passive cooling works if you use all these elements. No? The tree should be able to shade you, so to reduce the heat, and then before the cool effects of these passive cooling techniques will be able to help cool the space, no? Because if the sun is directly hitting the house, no, kahit na 1,000 pa ilagay mong cold jars dyan around your house, no, it will not be effective. So initially you have to shade the house, and then these jars will only help you cool the space immediately nearby, no. This is Sear pot, no. That's a Zier pot, like I showed a while ago. If you see the bottom picture, no. How do you do this, no? There's a technique, no. First, you seal the bottom of the pot because you're buying clay pots that have holes in the bottom. You seal the bottom whether through tape, through sealant, whatever, no. And then you put a second pot above, no. That's a second pot. You also seal the second pot, no. And then you put sand all around the between the two pots, no. Also at the bottom and between the two pots, no. Put sand. After you put sand, you put water. And then after that, you put the cover, and it will automatically cool the space, the space inside the interior pot. No? So those are two pots. No, that's a technique. That's a technique used in, I think, in India and Africa, no? To cool. Another technique na sa Philippines naman is use yung ano to, tawag doon? Yung clay pot na pang-inom.
Tampipi?
Ano?
Tampipi?
Yeah, yun.
Banga.
Tampipi ba yun? O,
Banga.
banga, yung mga banga. Banga with a gripo, no? Yan. So, this is you use this to cool your water. Nawala na to sa ano natin dahil meron tayong ref, di ba? So, ba't pa tayo kukuha ng ganyan na napakalaki, di ba? But this jar not only cools your space, it also cools your water. So, yung effort mo paglagay ng ice, marireduce na, no? So, you reduce the electrical wastage you use by opening and closing your freezer, di ba? So if you have cold water surrounded around your house, bumili na kayo, nag-canvas ako nito, 1,500 ata o 2,000 ang isa. Ikalat nyo yan around your house if you have a big house. Then it will not only help you cool the house, you'll also have cold water around your house, no, without the need for electricity, no. So this is the one that I mentioned a while ago, no. This is a group of Indians, no. This was part of their study, no. Meron kasi isang malaking exhaust fan sa likod nito that releases hot air. And then there's a community outside, no? So, and then nagre-reclaiming community because it's uncomfortable siyempre kung may hot air, no. So what they did was these are clay pots na hindi siya clay pots actually, clay cylinders, no. na tagos-tagusan, no? What they do is this is called they use cylindrical terracotta cones, no, arranged in a beehive pattern, which when you flow water outside, no, it cools the pot. And so kahit may hot air that comes from behind it, by the time it goes out, no, relatively cooler na yung air, no. So kung they installed this actually sa labas na isang may air handling unit doon that blows out hot air. So when they use this, the air that was blown out became a lot cooler, no? So at the same time, you can use this if you use natural air. When the natural air passes through here, it will become cooler air, no? It's natural air conditioning. Another way of cooling the air is for your inside your house is using earth tubes, no? This is actually used in Africa, no? Earth tubes, no? Dahil below the earth tubes are passive cooling techniques that the earth tubes are buried 6 feet, no? 4 to 6 feet on the ground, no? So malamig kasi doon after a few feet, no? Even if mainit na mainit yung environment mo, below 6 feet below the ground, it will be as cold as what are usually placed 6 feet below the ground, no?
Cold
Mga
as
bangkay.
dead.
Yeah. Yeah, kaya 6 feet below the ground. So, pero a little below 6 feet, it works, no? So, sa Africa, ganun ginagawa niya. Merong tubo that goes through the ground and goes into the house, no? So, you just make sure that the air comes from a clean source. So, pagpasok ng air inside your house, it's also a fresh air, still fresh air, no? So, these are ways, no? So, the ground is another resource, no? So, like here, hot air comes in from kahit anong air ang pumasok dito, if you see the lower right portion, no? Even whatever hot air that passes through as long as it passes through a underground tunnel and goes up, becomes cool, no? Ang kuwanat dito is water, no? So, there's water coming in dito. Lalong lalamig yan pag may water. Radiant cooling system is radiant cooling is energy efficient cooling that, unlike traditional forced air, employs chilled radiant floor surfaces like the ceiling. Ito may kuryente na rin to, di ba? So this is not actually passive cooling. But I just like to show you what radiant cooling. Radiant is parang ito yung singaw. Sumisingaw yung init, di ba? Yung init pag natamaan ka ng araw, yung the sunlight that hits your skin, mainit yon, no? So that's one source of heat, no? Yung heat mechanisms like discussed dito, no? Conduction, if you touch hot yung araw that hits the sunlight that hits the wall becomes hot, and then you touch the wall, you feel the heat, no? That's conduction, no? When air blows into a hot surface and blows into you, it becomes hot air. That's convection, no? Ang radiation, no, like here in radiant, is yung singaw na lamig, no? So yung singaw na lamig is ina-absorb niya yung init, no? Kasi ang energy movement natin is not from ang heat is actually a cold actually is the absence of heat, no? So if you have any cold surface, it absorbs the heat that's surrounding you. So yun yung concept, no? So as long as you have a cold surface somewhere, it will absorb the heat that is beside or around you. So yun yung tinatawag na radiant cooling, no? So like in this room, no, if you notice the room on the left side, on left lower side, no? They have a cold ceiling kasi sabihin mong nasa malamig yung ceiling mo, no? Before it actually helps you cool the room, you have to first cover the sun, no? Cover it with a shade, no? So that convection, when the wind passes through it, it will cause convection. Then convection, you will have cool air, no? And then use cold tiles also. So I mean mga cold tiles, no? Mga ceramic tiles, di ba? Mga porcelain tiles, marble, no? Cold tiles, pagka hindi na arawan, di ba? Normally it's cold, no? So if you use cold tiles and then your ceiling is cold, may sumisingaw na lamig. So it helps absorb the heat, no? So yun lang ang radiant cooling. So what are the ancient attempts at air conditioning? No, so Egyptians, no, one of the earliest civilizations attempted to cool their homes using they're hanging wet mats over the doorways. No, so wet mats, no, doormat, whatever, abaka, whatever. You wet it and you hang it over your doorway, over your door, over your window. So that's a technique, no, to cool your room, no. The Roman empires, they use aqueducts, no. So yun, aqueducts, they use the pipes, no. Cold pipes. Ang pipes nila, they use marble. So, sa marble, malamig eh. So water passes through the marble. So lumalamig yung tubig because of the marble, and then they collect the cold water into these pools, no? So nagiging frigidarium yan, nagiging cool baths nila yan, no? In Persia, no, they use wind catchers, no? So if you see the image here, no, yung towers nito, these are actually the wind catchers, no? And this dome actually is ano yan? Yan yung freezer nila. They can actually keep frozen stuff below this, no? The height, ito actually yung ceiling ng basement nila eh. Actually, this structure is a basement level, no? So, they collect ice during the night, no? Pag freezing cold yung gabi na sa desert eh. So, they collect the ice if ever meron. They keep it there. So, kahit na mainit na mainit yung umaga nila, it stays as an ice, no? Because of this cooling technique that they use. So what are the tips that we have now for homeowners, no? First, you look for available spaces in your house, no? First, to add windows or to add insulation, if you can add double walling, or if you can put landscaping, no? Wherever, no? Second, no, search for your heat sources, your appliances, window openings, roofs. Don't close all windows, no? Lalo if you have a refrigerator running 24 hours a day, no? If you leave the house and if you have a refrigerator, don't close all the windows, no? Kasi walang lalabasan yung heat, no? Aside from the heat from the sun, the heat from your appliances will heat up your entire space, no? So always leave a window open, no? Check where the sun enters your homes and then cover it, no? If you don't have blinds, shades, no? Kahit ano, if you use bond paper, newspaper, cardboards, no? Or aluminum foil that you use in cooking, you stick it to window, it will help reflect your window, the heat from the window, reflect the sun from the windows, no? Then plant trees both indoors and outdoors, no? Use potted plants if you're in a condo or limited spaces. Add windows or openings and open strategic windows. Make sure windows enter one side and exits on another side. Add water features, fountains, or cooling pots, no? Place them near windows or the openings. And use porous pavers and grass. Avoid solid concrete driveways, no? Make sure to shade these as well, no? Like, kung wala kayong pang shade, no? Kahit maglagay lang kayo maraming paso na may mga tanim. Kahit walang tanim, may paso. It will help shade your concrete driveway, no? Kasi masyadong mainit yung concrete driveway if it's exposed entirely under the sun the entire day, no? Then, insulate your roofs and walls. Add a double wall if needed, no? Repaint using lighter colors, no? If you don't have the budget for the insulating paint, at least lighter colors, no? Add bamboo slats as shading for your windows, no? Bamboo slats will let wind in even while it covers the sun, no? At the same time, if you have bamboo slats, no? The wind that goes through the bamboo slats will be a little cooler than the wind that came in, no? It's a concept of compressed air, no? Compressed air is usually cooler than the uncompressed air, no? At the same time, no, when you're watering the plants in the morning or in the afternoon, no, if you water your bamboo slats there and wind passes through, no, it's like evaporative cooling also, no? The air will be doubly cool, no? So choose materials wisely, use wood, ceramic, clay, or materials that stays cool, no? And then try out the shear pot coolers, no? And then lastly, no, you save on water. How do you save? You add rainwater tanks. It's important that that everybody uses rainwater tanks, no, right now, no? Right? Like I have rainwater tanks, so hindi ako nanghihinayang gumamit ng tubig dahil galing lang sa ulan yan, no? And then reuse water from air conditioning drain. So I have my air cons pipe. I have the drain from my air conditioning piped into a pond, no? So naubos lang siya nung mga bandang February, I think, no? February kasi last na ulan and it became very dry nung February to April. So naubos siya. But nung latter part ng April, napupuno na siya, no? So that's what I use for watering my plants outdoors. At the same time, I have vines that crawl up my walls that whose roots are connected to these ponds, no, that I have, that are being supplied by the air conditioning drains, no. And then if wala talaga kayong source ng water, then reuse water from your laundry and your showers, no. At mga Pinoy naman tayo, mahilig tayong maligo araw-araw, no? Twice a day, no. So sayang yung tubig na tinatapon natin. If you can install outdoor showers, you shower in your garden, then your garden will benefit from your shower, no? And reuse your water from your laundry, yung tubig na tinatapon mo lang sa gripo, sa drain, no? You throw it into your garden lawns or into your driveways, no? It will help cool your space, no? Okay, lastly, I'll leave you with a quote, no? You cannot solve a problem unless you diagnose the problem. So that's by Bush, no? So on that note, I like to encourage everybody, to have your own interior garden, no? And I encourage everybody to talk to your plants, no? Every day, it helps your plants talk, no? One day, malay mo, sumagot sa'yo ang mga plants ninyo. Tingnan mo to, bush, yung bush may coat na, di ba? Okay, so ang init-init, see you all in Baguio. And thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you, Pres.
Bye. Thank you,
Ayan,
thank you.
so, may mga questions po?
Questions? Naintindihan niyo ba?
Oh, I have a question. Sorry. Architect Joseph, how do you do the recycling of rainwater?
Recycling? What do you mean?
Kasi you were talking about plants eh. Halimbawa,
Oo.
do you put a catch basin on top of a rooftop or something to catch the rainwater, and then so yun yung recyclable
What I
water
do,
for
no,
for plants and everything. Sorry, I'm just
what
very
yeah.
curious.
What I do from there's a design for rainwater tanks actually. So first there's an initial flush. So kailangan merong tanke where all your initial flush is yung pag matagal na hindi umulan, biglang umulan, lahat ng dumi, burak from your gutter will go there, no? So mapupuno 'yon, and once napupuno 'yon, then yung overflow nun ang pupunta sa main rainwater tank mo, no? So
kasi
and then because these
the farm of Manaloto, the GK farm, the 7 hectares in Bulacan, that's what they use. Pero they gather it through the gutters, the rain gutters, and then they dump it in a well or in a water catchment sa ground. And then that's when they haul the water out. Just asking.
Pwede yun.
Oo.
Pwede yun. There are
Kasi,
many ways to harvest your water. Ang sinasabi ko yung kasi actually yung mini-mention ko is if it's in a building, no? So if it's a building, I always recommend the rainwater tank to be on the top floor para may pressure pagdating sa baba, no? And then every time you have a rainwater tank,
sorry, question. Yung rainwater tank, hindi pwedeng i-open ko lang yung what available tank I have. I have to really dedicate it as a rainwater tank. Kailangan
firstly,
bang
yung rainwater
dedicated yun?
tank,
Kasi iba yung composition ng rainwater and nawasa water or whatever.
Yeah, you don't mix it because you don't drink rainwater. No. Ang rainwater, even if you collect rainwater in the middle of the farm, no, you don't know what air particles came with the water when it fell down, no.
So,
nag-experiment na ako niyan eh, like.
Oo nga. No, that's why I know you're an expert. I'm just asking.
I mean kasi yung rainwater, when you collect it sa timba, yung first day kala mo linis-linis, no, and you wait a few more days, makita mo na may uod na nag-grow from the eggs of the parasites
ang
that came from the
rainwater nag-uuod.
Ang rainwater, yeah, oh.
Talaga? Hindi. I don't know any better, but that's a nice information kasi a lot of my friends, they do rainwater collection for something, pero yun na nga, iba yung composition niya. I'm just saying, sa Landsberg, halimbawa, pwede ba akong maglagay ng rainwater collector tank? for an old building?
Yes, oo. Yeah, of course. As long as you can connect to your gutter wherever,
Yeah.
no? If you
Sige,
can
sige.
find the gutter
Ah,
source. oo.
anyway,
And then
yan.
you make sure that if you have a rainwater tank, yung rainwater tank mo may overflow. May overflow. Kung anong size ng pipe mo na papasok, doble yung overflow mo. Kasi pag umuulan yan,
Hmm. Never mind, I will
yan,
consult you. Thank you
may
very much. I
kailangan
don't
you
want to
allow
occupy your time. Yeah. I get the
Okay.
gist of it. Thanks a lot. I mean, you've been very
you.
helpful. Thank
Yeah,
you.
okay.
Oh, anybody can ask
Thank you,
questions.
thank you.
Thanks, architect. I learned something new today.
Thank you.
Ganito tayo.
Thank you. Si Winnie was raising her hand, Winnie.
Actually, hindi si Widi. Architect ako.
Sino?
Winston.
Winston. Yes.
Architect, good
Oh,
afternoon.
yes.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Bali, that's what we are planning sa Batangas kasi maraming tubig na nasasayang tapos yung farm laging tigang. Sabi ko, ikakatch natin yung water. Kaso wala akong reliable source ng design how to do it, yung water catchment. Iniisip ko maglagay ng semento na malaki parang storage ng water. Pero i-elevate ko ba o pantay lang sa bahay? Pero maganda yung sinasabi niyo, mas elevated para gravity assist lang siya, no? Hindi mo kailangan ng pump.
Yeah.
Oo. Pero wala pa akong actually best idea. Siguro maybe we should talk to you with that later on.
Yeah. Oo, kasi kung large scale actually ang
Opo.
kailangan mo doon is swale. Ang swale is yung parang gagawa ka ng mga collection basins sa farm
Yes,
where
sir.
water can percolate into the ground. No, swales yun. Swales ang kailangan mo. Pag malaki pag large scale.
Opo. Sa India po kasi may nakita kung sa farm nila naggagawa sila ng parang mga sapa-sapa mula sa taas ng bundok hanggang sa baba.
Those are
Yun
the
ba yun?
swales. Yun. Oo.
Sa Cagayan Valley naman, yung sweep naman, yung small water irrigation facilities yata yun. Doon sa Cagayan nakita namin. Oo.
Yun. Actually, ang techniques doon is you try to slow down the flow of the rainwater before it reaches the streams. Kasi the faster it goes to the stream, tapo na yun papuntang dagat na yun So
Yes,
if you
opo.
slow it down, it helps to charge the groundwater.
Kasi kung
yun.
miminahin mo ang tubig mula sa groundwater, i-pump up mo, magastos sa kuryente. At saka medyo nadideplete yung water. Minsan yung malabo na yung tubig. Opo.
Yeah, if you're gonna do that if meron kang deep well, it makes sense to put additional ganon din, mga swales para nare-recharge mo yung deep well mo.
Okay.
Kasi habang nagsisip-sip ka, kailangan may nagre-refill doon.
Opo. Thank you so much po
yes,
sa
PP Pat.
ideas.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you too. Yes, PP Pat.
Yeah. Alam mo, your lecture today made me realize some big mistakes, which is why I failed to close the sale. Kasi dito sa Green Meadows na binibenta ko, I usually schedule the tripping in the afternoon. Yun pala mali. Kasi yung concrete niya, doon sa likod ng bahay niya, it is a morning sun house. Kaya sa umaga, okay. Pero pagka sa hapon, yung kanyang terrace na konkreto, doon nag-absorb ng heat. So meron akong dalawang balikbay na dinala doon. May kasama siyang architect. Nagtataka ko, akala ko pungso yung kasama niya. Yung pala architect. May dala-dalang thermometer. And then, chinek niya yung thermometer inside that. Siguro, yun ang naging problema ko. Kasi, afternoon sun yung likod niya, yung harap niya, morning sun. So, ngayon, that's basically the reason why I failed to close the sale. Siguro, 2 beses na. Ngayon ko na-realize na mali yung yung base yung terrace niya na konkreto. Siguro kung ano
Mm.
yon, kung mayroong yung parang net na sinasabi mo, o kaya
Yeah, oh.
mayroong bahay man lang sa likod. Ang problema
Shade net.
kasi,
Kahit lagyan
walang
nyo ng
bahay
paso.
sa likod.
Yeah. Kahit lagyan
Kaya
nyo ng
siguro,
paso.
oo. Kaya nga so, na-feel yung init ng hapon Actually, medyo alas 6 na yun, pero sumisingaw talagang init Pagkabukas din ng bintana, kasi ano yun parang yung terrace niya, extension ng sala. Pagkabukas doon, talaga makikita mo talaga, umiiling-iling yung kano So,
Yeah. Yun ang heat mass, no? Kasi,
yun na,
imagine,
yun ang
napansin
na-realize ko doon sa lecture mo ngayon.
napansin nyo yung nagluluto sa kalsada. Di ba? Meron na viral nagluluto sa kalsada. Ang concern nun, may araw. So, yung kalsada, mainit na dahil na-absorb na niya yung araw ng buong tanghali, di ba? And then,
Correct.
habang nagluluto siya, yung kaldero, uminit na rin. Habang inaarawan yung kaldero at yung kalsada mismo, sumisingaw pa ng init. So, nagdodoble, di ba? So, mayroong init na dinadagdag yung araw and then yung kalsada, sumisingaw. So, yung normal na mararamdaman mo sa gubat na temperature, iba pag sa kalsada. Dahil pati yung kalsada, binabounce off niya yung init at saka siya mismo, yung init na na-absorb niya, nire-release siya sa'yo. So, yun ang iiwasan natin. Yun. So,
Siguro,
you know,
ang isa pa
identify nyo yun sa mga bahay ninyo kung meron ganong source ng init. Kahit may building kang katabi, the building mo is firewall. Pag yung firewall na yun is afternoon sun, it absorbs all the heat and then sisingaw yan na magdamag sa inyo. So, try to cover as much as possible.
Kaya siguro yung tripping strategy ko has to change, and then we may have to do something about that terrace At saka, alam mo kasi, doon sa terrace, sala, ay salamin. Hindi naman salamin na double wall yung salamin na yon. So there is no vacuum. Kaya talagang talagang sapul na sapul yung pagpasok ng init. Even in the afternoon, siguro mga bandang alas 6 na. Pero talagang madamdam.
Sabihin nyo sa owner, kahit bumili kayo nung plastic na grass, layout nyo dun sa lawn. It will shade the concrete.
Yeah. I think that is a very good suggestion.
So, mura lang yun.
That information is very helpful kasi dapat meron ka ring tripping strategy considering mga profile ng bayan. Saka yung sinasabi mo, yung north at saka south, facing north and south should be the coolest one. Pero pag-inchik naman, ayaw naman niya ng facing north. Gusto niya facing south. But meron talaga yung mga facing east at facing west. Talagang sigurado yan. Sa pool sa araw yan.
Yeah. Thank you po. May referral fee ako dyan.
Thank you.
Sana sir, nilagyan niya ng background mo, yung halaman, no? Ang ganda. Ang ganda.
Thank you. Huwag kayong gagawa ng vertical wall na ganyan kasi pag hindi yung inalagaan, ang pangit yan pag namatay.
Sa EDSA, patay na.
Oo nga Marivic, yes.
Yeah. Comment lang, oo. Kaduktong nung sinasabi ni Pipi Pat, that's the case for my house. Yung bedroom ko kasi, nasa likod na ng bahay. And it's facing the afternoon sun. So nabasa ko rin na whatever, whatever room yan, pag ang bedroom mo ay ang katapat ay afternoon sun, hanggang sleeping time mo, mainit pa yung walls niyan. So now I really have to think of ways do sa mga sinuggest ni architect talagang para to cool the source of the sun sa likod, like from the ground, walls, and the atmosphere. Kailangan gawan ko talaga ng paraan yan.
Kahit mga paso lang, lagay ka lang mga 10 paso na may maliliit na balete, di ba? Matibay ang balete. Kahit
baka
ayaw
may
mong
balete.
Hindi,
parang
walang multo. Kapre
medyo
lang, kapre.
galing sa taas yung sinag So initially I was thinking of shade net or parang yung bully mat. Kaya lang siguro parang hindi lang yun yung
Single floor ka lang ba?
Bungalow,
One floor ka lang?
Yeah.
Bungalow?
Oo.
Actually, try mong kung meron kang makukuha ng mga used na tires, kung mainit used tires, so gawin mo parang barong-barong yung bahay mo. Magpatong ka sa taas mo ng whatever insulating
Ginawa mo
material.
sa bahay mo?
Oo, para for temporary lang kasi kung sobrang init talaga, di bili ka nung yung aluminum insulation, tas takpan mo lang doon. Kung one section lang. Pero
At
tanggalin mo siya sa bagyo kasi pag bumagyo baka bumagsak yung gulong.
dadagan ko lang.
Dadagan mo lang para lang ma-shade yung yung yero mo.
Quick fix lang to, quick fix.
Quick fix lang yan, quick
Insulation
fix.
na kulay silver?
Oo, oo, oo. Yan.
Okay.
Para lang
Okay.
maging comfortable.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Timmy.
Curious lang, pag ginawa namin yung mga techniques na cooling techniques, mga ilang degrees lalamig yung yung area? May effect ba sa temperature ng or more of hangin or what?
Okay, ganito. Unang-una, ang pinaka-effective is the insulating paint sa bubong. So, pag nagawa mo yon effectively, like kunyari, ceramic coat, immediately mararamdaman mo yung yung temperature, maging comfortable. Lalo kung nasa rooftop ka, no. Ang problem lang doon talaga is baka hindi magtagal. So, nag-install kasi ako dati noon, third year, wala nang effect. As in, hindi na ganun kalamig yung roof nung hinawakan ko. Pero at least, di ba, first 2 years, malamig. So, I'm not sure kung dahil sa installation method namin, no. So, but that's effective siya immediately, no. But I don't recommend you doing it right now kasi sobrang extreme yung heat. So, these things, no, you do it in preparation for next year. Kasi it's too late na to paint your roof kasi it's too hot at the same time bamya biglang umulan ng malakas. So it will just damage your paint, no? So in preparation, the time to paint actually is January, February. Malamig-lamig tapos walang ulan. Yun. So that's the first thing, no? You insulate the roof. Then next is yung ceiling mo, hanapan mo ng leaks, di ba? Sinasabi ko yung leaks, no? Hanapan na naman ng leaks na from leaks into the interior of your house. So ideally, you seal it kung kailangan may singawan din siya palabas ng house, pero wala dapat sumisingaw paloob ng house para may exhaust yung void ng roof mo yun sa between the ceiling and the roof, no. So kung wala kang exhaust doon, mag-try adding a chimney for that, no, para kung mainit-init yon, may lalabasan from below the roof, no? Kahit paano. Then okay, so na-insulate mo na yung roof mo. And then, na-insulate, so kunyari retrofitting, no? Pinaka-importante is insulate the roof. The next is yung ventilation, no? Cross ventilation. Then make sure that the wind crosses the entire house from one side to the other para sumingaw, no? Yun. And then make sure, ideally, it's best to have your windows openable up to the bottom of your ceiling. No? Hanap ka ng windows na na-open hanggang sa ceiling mo para yung entire hot air above your head will be exhausted outside your house. No? Kung meron kang window, yung mga lumang bahay kasi 'di ba meron mga transom window sa taas na hindi openable. You study that to if you can turn that into a jalousie so you can open it during hot days. No? Kasi dating panahon hindi ganito kainit So yung top portion ng window hindi openable. Yon. Okay? Are we
Okay,
good?
thank you.
Thank you. So,
Tapos wait, yung terracotta pots, hindi ba yun eventually maging problem sa lamok? Mga pots na may water.
what I do, actually yung nagpe-prepare dito, I experimented sa terracotta pot. So what I do, fill it with water and then close the lid. Kasi sisingaw yung tubig di ba? Close the lid, sisingaw yung tubig sa wall, hinawakan ko, ang lamig-lamig. Para siyang parang yung Coke na nasa ref. So ganon. Tapos just close the lid, wala nang lamok. Or worst case scenario, if you really want na kung wala kang pang close na lid, you put pebbles. And then fill the pot with pebbles and then fill the water with I fill the pot with water up, not above the pebbles, until below the pebbles. Walang lamok na papasok no.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Thank you, Timmy.